With all due honesty, how much money do you have in savings? In case you got an emergency today, would you be able to rescue yourself? My name is Dr. Kieti, and I've lived in Qatar for the last almost 10 years. And one thing that I struggle with is personal finances. So for the last 3 years, I've been working on that. And honestly, it is something that I am proud that I've taken off. And as a result, I want to share some tips that I've learned along the way through YouTube channel, through Google, through AI, through my friends, through financial advisors that I think would be helpful to you. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just doing this through my lenses to be able to help you save and avoid some of the pitfalls that I found myself in such that if an emergency came in, I could not be able to afford to take care of it without asking my parents, mark you, who are retired. So what is the first thing? It's acknowledging where you are. You need to do a life audit. Understand what you have, and out of those what you have, you need to put them in 3 categories. What to keep, what to throw, what to donate. I'm not saying live a frugal life. I'm not saying live a minimalist life, but by having a life audit, you're able to understand at what particular point are you as an individual going to start. Next, let's dig deep down and see what to do. I've seen this on Facebook where it says on YouTube, TikTok, where most of the advisors will be like, rent is one of the most expensive thing, especially here in Qatar, and that you need to live in shared accommodation. I think that is false advice, and as an individual, you should be able to gauge what is right for you. I'll give you a very good example. I once saw a house where they were sharing the master bedroom, and the cost of this master bedroom was more than what I pay for my 1-bedroom house. And the weird thing is that that house was like a kilometer from where I live. So imagine for just a kilometer, I'm supposed to distort my living so that I can live with another person. All I'm saying is do your research. Sometimes living alone can be actually cheaper than sharing. And most importantly, you end up getting that peace of mind. Think of it like what my friend says. If I leave my cup in the sink, in the evening, I'll come and find my cup there. Nobody will have added more. So there is some peace living. You don't have to live in a shared accommodation. You can just look for a studio. You can look for the old houses. They are usually cheaper. Talking about checking things, it's about discount. I know a lot of us rely on discount as a saving mechanism, which is wrong. If something was being sold at 100 and is coming now at 70, you have not saved 30, you have spent 70. But what do I mean discount? I go Lulu hypermarket D Ring Road, and I discovered that it has 2 discount aisles. And you have to be really, really grateful to look at them. Once I told my friend that, she was like, but those are the expired things. No, honey, some of them are those not fast moving goods. So nowadays when I go to Carrefour, when I go to Lulu, which their price is already affordable, you will find me in those 2 discount aisles. One is at the beginning, but you have to look at it very carefully to find it because it's among other discounted items, but they are not as discounted as that section. And the other one is just towards the end as you're going towards food, and it's next to the freezers where they put the milk and the yogurt. It's just there. And once you look at the stuff, you'll think, oh, they're putting this stuff at this lower price because the price is discounted. No, sometimes it's because those are slow moving good and it's better to sell them at a cheaper price. So once you buy that, you'll be able to save. Talking about food, research has shown that cooking at home is cheaper than going to the restaurant. But I always say, please gauge yourself and understand. If you live alone, sometimes buying from the restaurant is cheaper. Now, hear me out. If I go to buy biryani for 15 riyals, I can eat it 3 times. Worst case scenario, if I'm hungry, I'll eat it 2 times, which means it's either dinner and the next day lunch, Or if you eat 3 meals, it is breakfast. It can be a breakfast and lunch, whichever way you eat. So 1 day meal. Now, making your own biryani can be a bit expensive depending on the ingredients and what you're buying. So sometimes buying from the restaurants can be cheaper, but you need to know what are you buying and what restaurants. Talking about buying, I would suggest that if you have an addiction of buying food always, that figure out how to order directly from the restaurants than using the apps. I know it's convenient to just download the app and go there, but I've been doing this experimentally. I would go to the app and I want to buy something that is costing 15 reals, but at the end of the day, I have to pay 10 reals for the delivery fee. Yet if I called the restaurants directly, I will get it for 15 reals and the delivery will be free. So learn how to order directly from the restaurant and it will be a big saver. Now, let's dig a bit deeper and talk about telling people about your savings. I know you want to start this journey and that's why you have clicked here. But should you really announce to the world about how your lifestyle has changed? No, that is something I'm learning. There is something about perception view, and most of us need to be able to hide our lifestyle so that we can protect ourselves. I'm not saying that the moment you disclose to your friend that, hey, I have 5,000 savings, that the relationship will end. But think about it. You have been saving for the last 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, and then all of a sudden you tell your friend, hey, I don't understand how you don't have saving, but I've saved this X amount of money. Do you know what will happen? This friend will start going, inviting you for lunch, inviting you for outing, inviting you for trips. And you know what will happen? The bigger chunk of money, it will be you who will be contributing it. Okay, the moment you say, oh, no, I don't have money, they'll look at you and say, how can you say you don't have money, but you said you have X amount of money in saving? Because your friends are not differentiating your saving. Your friends are not differentiating the fact that you brag to them how you live a very high lifestyle. No, keep it to yourself. Keep it to the low, and yes, share financial advice, share financial tip, but do not disclose the exact amount. Now, something I learned yesterday was very simple. Some of us are struggling with habit of saving. For me, it was really hard because every time I would save, something would come up and I would really call it an emergency. So what I had to do was open a different account, put money there and call it saving and lock it and not get an ATM and not get anything. Over time, it was able to help me. 2, I had to ignore the investment part because first I had to learn how to save. So how do you go from somebody who has zero savings to somebody who has a bit of saving? This is the trick I learned, and I wish I'd learned it earlier, so maybe it would have helped me the last 10 years. Start with only 10 of your currency. Like in Qatar, you can say 10 reals. Every time you get money, every time you side hustle, anytime somebody sends you money, just save 10 reals. Now compound that by 12 months times the 10 years I would have been here. I know you're like, oh, but that would only be 1,000. Yes, but it would have been 1,000, but it would have done something powerful that was not there in me. It would have taught me how to do savings. Then once you learn savings, that's when you start doing investments. For me, I've been talking to a couple of people, and I know that my investments are not going to be that big. I'm not going to get, I don't know, into crypto to what. I do not understand that. I'm an old fashioned, I'm a less risky person. So I could go either buy stock or do index funding, something that is really simple and straightforward, because I don't want to burden myself into taking on bigger savings than my brain can be able to process. So start slowly, move one by one and by one. The other thing is that I'd like to say you delete the shopping apps. I know we all love to order things from Shein. We all love to order things, I don't know, from Temu. I don't know from where I've been there. I remember the time I downloaded the Temu app is because I was looking for a passport cover. But everywhere I went, it kept on telling me it's between 60 and 200 reals. And I was like, why am I paying 60? Then somebody was like, oh, in Temu it's 5 reals. Instead of telling that person, buy for me the passport at 5 reals, I downloaded the app, and then guess what? I had to buy goods worth 132 because the minimum I could buy was 125 in order for them to say, oh, we'll be able to deliver your things for free. I'm lucky that I never got into that addiction, because after that, I just bought the extra things, which is weird because even the shoes I bought are still there and they're about to get Qatar summer. And that is what I'm going to talk about next. But just delete those apps. What you can be able to do is that identify when there is actual discounts from the store, and because you've already done your audit and because you're keeping up with whatever you have, you can buy the stuff you need. I'll give you an example I gave my friend yesterday. Currently, the shower gel I'm using is what I bought last year from Body and Bathworks, because when I realized that there's a certain time they sell them at 22 reals, but there's a certain time they'll come with a discount and say 30, 35, I don't know what, so I don't buy that. So when it's exactly that 22 reals mark, that's when I go and buy, and then I buy a lot and I keep them. Now, if you're in somewhere like Doha, you need to be careful about buying bulk stuff, because like I said, summer is here. Right now, I've switched on off the AC because I'm recording. Okay, under normal circumstance, I don't switch on the AC, but that is my preference. I'm not going to ask you to start switching off the AC because of electricity bill. I don't even pay electricity bill, but that's my preference. But remember, the house gets too hot, and if you buy such stuff like perfume, soap, oils during the summer, even shoes and clothes, they tend to degrade, and that by the time you go and use them, the thing is spoiled and everything. So what I do, and remember, this is not advice, it's not recommended, but for me, it's what works for me, is at the bottom shelf of my fridge where I'm supposed to put the vegetables. That's where I go and store them. So over the summer, it's constant, it's helping, but it's not the best. The most ideal would have been for me to go buy a fridge that is specifically for storing this thing, but I figure out I have 2 fridges and I don't usually buy that much vegetables. That space is sufficient for me. So do what works for you. All in all, remember, what works for one person might not work for you. So you need to be able to carefully consider what works for you and for that tip. Now, talking about works for you, this is my final one. This goes to those people who have the bank loan, and you are considering, do I save, do I offset the bank loan? I know a lot of advice will be considered that you need to use the money you're supposed to save to offset the bank loan. But I want you to think about this. If you're fired today and you have no savings, you cannot access your gratuity, because your gratuity will go directly to the bank to offset the bank loan. What do you do? So in such case, you need to understand your scenario. Is me offsetting the bank loan, which will end up saving interest, a far more better option, or me saving so that in case I lose my job, I'm losing my gratuity, but at least I have very little savings that can be able to help me proceed with my life. All in all, figure out what works best for you and go for it. Is there any question you'd like clarification from? I'll try my level best, put it in the comment, and I'll be able to answer you. I hope you find this video helpful and that you'll be able to share it with your friend. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.